So we'll go ahead and get started on this review day because it's pretty much review day. You can title your notes Ratios and Proportions. So, Quan, what are you typing? The ratio of A to B is the quotient obtained by dividing A by B, where B does not equal 0. Why would we have to put that constraint on B? Why can B not equal 0? Illegal. It breaks math. Okay. So A can be 0, right? That's fine. But in math, we are not allowed to divide by 0. We don't really know what it means to divide by 0. Okay, so that's a ratio. There are 3 different ways that we can write a ratio. How can we write a ratio? 3 ways. I know which way you're going to think of first. With a colon, yep. I don't remember which one that is. Is that this one? Yes. What else? With a division, yep. Oops, I gave away. Sorry. I forgot what order they were in. Okay, so you can say x to y with the word 2. You can do x to y with a colon, and you can do x to y with a division sign. So those are 3 different ways that we can write a ratio, and we will interchange between those ways. Notice when we do put a colon or x to y, the x goes in the numerator and the y goes in the denominator. That's really important. Okay, I have a video. We'll see if it works through here. It's on YouTube.
What are you going to order?
I don't know. The fish looks good.
I don't like fish. I was fishing off the coast of Alaska when Dog jumped in the water and he was all wet. It reminded me of the song about a man whose dog dies and his truck stops working, and there was something about the train. Even though my dog didn't die and I don't have a truck because I was on a boat, but it made me really sad. So once I listened to it backwards to see if the truck would start working, the dog didn't die, but it just sounded weird and I was still sad. Do you ever listen to country music backwards?
What are you even talking about?
Fish. I'm talking about fish because it reminds me of when my dog died, like that movie that had that guy in it from the other movie that was hilarious, remember? It was about space and there was the woman with the blue hair,
Okay.
and I laughed so hard milk came out of my nose.
My phone is ringing.
I don't hear a phone.
No, really, I have to take this. That entire time, I spoke 25 words to his 175. That means for every 1 word I spoke, he spoke 7 words. He spoke 7 times as much as I did. 7 times. It was like me, talk, him, talk, 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 talk. Me, talk, him, talk, 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 talk. So, do you like fish?
Don't like fish.
I asked the last guy I dated about fish, and he rambled on about trucks all night. Have you ever dated someone who talks too much?
Can't trust fish.
My phone is ringing. That entire time I spoke 36 words to his 6. For every 6 words I spoke, he only spoke 1 word. I spoke 6 times as much as he did. 6 times. It was like me. Talk, 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 talk. Him. Talk. All I want is a guy that can talk with me on a 1-to-1 ratio. So, do you like fish?
I don't like fish. My roommate does though. Do you like fish?
I do like fish. Gosh, I've been on some bad dates lately.
Funny, my roommate says the same thing.
Do your dates talk about fish?
Not really. Do yours?
One date talked about fish, had a truck, and listened to country music backwards.
My roommate talks about fish, has a truck, and listens to country music backwards.
I think I dated my roommate. Have you noticed we talk about the same amount? A 1-to-1 ratio.
Indeed, we do talk about the same amount. A 1-to-1 ratio. Bread.
I don't know how much of that you were able to hear, but it was cute. Okay. Get out of that. All right, so let's get into some more ratios. Let's get a little bit tougher right away. Something about this dog. So go ahead and do these three in your notes, see what you get, and then we'll talk about them. Oh. So when you are simplifying a ratio, I would go with like terms. I would simplify like terms one at a time. So you would simplify the 2/12 first. So 2/12 is going to become 1/6. And then I would work with my x's. Does x have anybody to cancel with? Well, no, he's by himself. It's just x. So we'll just put x by himself. And then y. Do y'all remember the rule that you do what do you do to the exponents when you're trying to divide variables with exponents? You kind of subtract the exponent. You do subtract the exponent. So what you're going to do is you're going to subtract the exponent of the like terms, and then you're going to put it where the larger one came from. So 6 minus 3 is 3. And I'm going to put y to the third where the larger one came from. If you ever forget what to do, then just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, and you'll remember, oh, that's how that works. And you're left with 3 y's in the numerator. Z, okay, so when there is no exponent, remember it's not z to the 0, it's really understood as z to the 1. And so we're going to do 2 minus 1, and we get 1, and where do we put it? We put it where the larger one came from. You don't need that 1 there, so our final answer is x, y cubed over 6z. You can put the 1 there or not, but it is not necessary to write that 1. I just had it there as a placeholder. All right, 10 yards to 15 feet. You cannot simplify a ratio until you have like terms. So we want to definitely convert the feet into yards or the yards into feet. It's totally up to you. How many feet are in a yard? 3, right? Okay, so 10 yards would technically be 30 feet. I don't care which one you convert. It doesn't really matter. When you are doing your ratio, your units are going to cancel. So a ratio doesn't have units. A ratio does not have units because you're comparing two things and the units are canceling. So 30 to 15 would become... Now, if we would have gone with yards, we would have said 15 feet is really 3 yards. No, not 3 yards, sorry. We're doing something wrong. 10 yards. 15 feet is really 5 yards. Sorry. So if we've got 10 yards to 5 yards, then the yards would also cancel, and 10 to 5 would also be 2 to 1. So you see we're going to end up with the same answer no matter what, if your teacher can do her math. Okay, the next one, the ratio of teachers to students if there are 180 teachers and 2,440 students. Teachers to students. So you want to put the teachers first. And you want to divide it by the students, and then you want to simplify it. And I got 9 teachers for every 122 students. Remember, in this class, we get to use calculators. So I'm really not going to go through how to do it by hand because I do expect you to use your calculator. So the way that you would do that is you would put 180 divided by 2,440 in your calculator, and then you would press Math, Enter, Enter. And Math, Enter, Enter will reduce it for you, and you'll get 9 to 122. So Math, Enter, Enter in your calculator when you divide. I'm just simplifying a ratio. Math, Enter, Enter. Best friend. Okay, so now if you take a ratio, and you set them equal, you have a proportion. So proportion is really just two ratios set equal to each other. Proportion. Equation stating that two ratios are equal. So there is a proportion right there. 1/2 equals 3/6. We're getting real deep here. We're going to move on. Will the following ratios form a proportion? So two ratios are proportional if they are indeed equal. There are multiple ways to try this out. One way is you can cross multiply. Does 6 times 16 equal 4 times 24? That's one way to do it. Another way you can do it is just reduce both of them. What is 6/24? 1/4. And what is 4/16? 1/4. So does the 4th equal a 4th? Yes. Balloon pop. Wow. Make it exciting. Second one, 2/9. Does that reduce? No. 3/10. Does that reduce? No. And so therefore, they're not proportional. Remember, you can also cross multiply if you want. 2 times 10 does not equal 3 times 9. This will be fun. Let's do it. Okay, whoever requests screen control first, I need you to drop that into a vortex, and it'll spit it back out if it's wrong, and it'll suck it in if it's right. So does anyone want screen control? Just tell me if they're proportional or not proportional. Okay, Helaman, you're up, and then Austin, you're next. So I think you should be able to just take your mouse and drag one of those proportions into a vortex. Okay. Sucked it in. You were right. Okay, Austin, you're up. Oh, sucked it in. You're right. Okay, who's next? Let's do one wrong just to see what happens. Who wants to do one incorrectly? Albert? Ah, spit it back out. Okay, put it in the not proportional. Taha, did you want one? There you go. Let's wait till Albert. Okay. Taha, you're up. Very good. Who wants the last one? Who wants it? Request control. Okay. 145 divided by 203. And 5 divided by 7. Those equal the exact same thing. Proportional. Proportional. I thought someone was going to do it. I'll do it. Are you going to do it? Okay. There we go. Very good. All right, so, okay, you can take off your control now, please. So, when we are solving for an unknown, you know this. I know you know this. You cross multiply. So when we have a proportion and one of our values is missing, we're going to cross multiply to find that missing value. Sometimes you can cross multiply and divide if it's real quick, but sometimes you'll need to actually cross multiply and go through solving it that way. So let's go real quick. This one I would cross multiply and divide. I would do 4 times 6 divided by 3. Is that okay with everyone if we just do that? 4 times 6 divided by 3. Where do you get the math from that? 4 times 6 equals 3 times x divided by 3 divided by 3. Okay, final answer 8. 3 is to 4 as 6 is to 8. This one, a lot of students have trouble with this one because they're scared to set up the proportion. They're scared they're going to do it wrong. But just remember, the first number is the numerator. The first number is the numerator. So I would 100% rewrite this as a fraction. Rewrite it as a fraction. 3 is to 5 as 6 is to x. 5 times 6 is 30. 30 divided by 3. Yep. This is one where you would not cross multiply and divide. This is one where you would actually write out the full steps, okay? The biggest mistake that people do here is that they do not distribute. So I'm going to write that step this time just to remind you to make sure you distribute, okay? So we've got 7 times 9 times. Okay. I'll give you a minute to play with that. See if you can solve for. Albert's first, Quan was second. So if you haven't noticed, algebra is back with a vengeance, so just be careful. X is 3. You can always plug it back in to check yourself. That always helps. 7 over, ooh, that was ugly. 6 times 3, 18. 18 minus 4, 14. Does that equal 9 over 4 times 3, 12. 12 plus 6, 18. So 7 is half of 14, 9 is half of 18, so we did it right, and we can move on. Lots of algebra. Lots of algebra. Let's write this one out. Cross multiply. 21 times x plus 2 equals x plus 8 times x plus 6. This side is not bad. We just distribute this side. 21x plus 42. This side, you have to make sure you FOIL. You have to make sure you FOIL. You have to make sure you FOIL. Okay? 8x times x, x squared, plus 6x, plus 8x, is 48. That's ugly. It's looking like a quadratic, so we need to make sure that we set it equal to 0. We always set quadratics equal to 0. So 0 equals x squared. Let's see, here I had a 14x. And then I'm going to subtract a 21x because I need to bring it over. So we'd have minus 7x. And then we've got 48, and we need to subtract 42 because we need to bring it over. So, plus 6. I need to make my page larger. I don't know why it's not letting me extend my page. Huh. Okay. So, now we're going to factor this guy. So we need things that multiply to get 6 and subtract, no, add to get 7 because they're both going to be negative. Things that multiply to get 6. 6 and 1 will do it. Okay, so minus 6, minus 1. So our final answer is x is 6 and 1. Because you ask yourself, What number will force this to be 0? Well, 6 will. What number will force this to be 0? Well, 1 will. So our answers are 6 and 1. The values of x that will make this proportion true. We are going to skip number 4, thank goodness. 2 more left. Some word problems. 168-inch flagpole is divided in a ratio of 2 to 3 to 7. What is the length of each part of the flagpole? So when you think ratio, I want you to think of dividing it into parts, and I want you to think of there always being a common link between them, a common multiplier between them. So there's one number in the world that I could multiply each of these by, and then when I add them together, I'll get 168. So there's one number out there, 2x plus 3x plus 7x equals 168. So our ratio is 2x to 3x to 7x. Oh, you're already done? Okay. Sorry. 12x equals 168. So what's that common value that you can multiply them by? 168 divided by 12. So x is 14. And then you just plug it in. 2 times 14. 3 times 14. 7 times 14. Did you get them right? Are you confused? 28, 42, and 98? Okay. Yeah. All right, last one.